Hello and welcome back. On the last episode, we began Volume 14 with another Rustblood, and basically we just went around the place cleaning things. Not much to really recap on that, so we should continue on Volume 14. I believe this is like the last 9 characters we'll have to meet. So yeah, volume 14 of Cleanliness and Clownliness. This is a dark world, both because it's night and because of the brutal struggle for survival among the among its polyhemochromatic inhabitants, both of whom seem to thrive on havoc and carnage. You'd be interested to see the Michelin Guide for entry for Alternia. You're convinced that after a day here, Anne Ryan would sign up for the Little Sisters of the Poor. Genghis Khan and Alita, Attila the Hun, would join the Quakers, and Adolf Hitler would seek membership in the World Peace Council. Oh, Goodwin's Law alert. Feeling a little dramatic tonight. Karako Pierot. Having learned the dangers of using the public thoroughfares, you've taken to dodging down byways and skulking in rear areas, trying to spy out individuals who look ripe for friendship while avoiding the more criminally insane denizens. Just now you're following the winding footpath through the undergrowth surrounding a neighborhood where the local hives are separated far apart. You came creeping along the footpath for safety. You should have known better. The undergrowth here is like most of the other life forms on Alternia, evolved to ruthlessly purge the gene pool of the weak and the reasonable. Coiled, spring-loaded stalks with foot-long thorns flank writhing bushes with razor-edged leaves, which in turn crowd tentacle flora with toothed lobes oozing liquid that hisses and smokes when it touches the ground. Extreme caution is needed, just as it's needed in every circumstance on this planet. While your time on Alternia has gotten you accustomed to injuries, you still shrink from being impaled and on sprung thorns and dissolved in acid. You should have known that eventually you would have come up against the local flora, so you proceeded discreetly, avoiding poison fronds and trying to not step on trigger roots. But suddenly, your vegetative focus is interrupted. You hear footsteps on a path, and around the corner comes a small figure. Its face and horns are painted with smudge black and white marks. Despite its diminutive physique, it has some of the most impressive horns you've come to see on any troll. I don't know why I've added come to see. Most impressive horns you've seen on any troll. Then the small figure sees you too, and is so startled it jumps a foot, impaling its horns in the overhanging tree branch and sticking there so that the small legs plump helpless in the air. Hunk. You beg the small person's pardon and assure him that you were fully as startled as he. You go on to explain that you're not dangerous, and that even if you were, you would not want to come to strife with even a small person with horns of that size. Honk. Yes, you will be happy to help him down, as long as he promises not to attack you with the many bladed weapons that is stuffed into his belt. or with the dozens of cans of inexpensive soft drinks held in bandoliers crossing his chest. It strikes you suddenly that the neighborly gesture, like helping someone whose horns is stuck in a tree branch, can scarcely fail to kindle the light of friendship. You dare to hope that this will be the case now. Edging forward, you get close enough to see that around the small clown's neck hangs a dog tag, or an ID necklace. You tilt your head and crane your neck to read the writing on it. Karako Pierot. If lost, call Bronya Osama. Cool, friend of Bronya's. Suddenly this all makes sense. This Karako Pierot must have been one of Bronya's reject runt regulars, who, having grown to childhood under her tender care, has gone out into the world to seek his fortune. The world would account for his small size, short legs, and small stature relative to his horns. You eagerly pull out your palm husk, happy for an excuse to pester your old friend, but you've got zero signal out here. You wonder if the surrounding vegetation eats palm husk signals, just as it looks like it eats everything else. You disappointedly slip your palm husk back into your pocket. Honk. You apologize for the delay, explaining that you were surprised to find that you appear to have an acquaintance in common, whom you hope you will have the time to discuss later. For now, you are ready, willing, and hopefully able to help him down. You hope he won't be offended if you slip behind him first. It's not that you object to bladed weapons or those who stuff dozens of them in their belts, but you feel like the ones he's wearing could ruin your look if buried into your torso, however unintentionally. You edge past the weapons, being careful not to touch the spring thorn growing on the edge of the path of the trigger roots. Sorry, just trying to think. Once you're behind Kokoro, you grasp his horns firmly and pull them, withdrawing them from the tree branch, allowing him to drop lightly down to the ground. Honk! You tell him that he's very welcome. Then there's a moment of awkward silence as you try to think of something else to say. Fortunately, your new potential friend is not as devoid of social grace as you are, and gets the conversational ball rolling himself. Honk. You explain that you are indeed a stranger in these parts, and that you actually don't fit into any of the hemospectrum categories. Wild, right? Although, not quite as strange as you used to be. You'd like to think. You're really starting to blend in with the local colour. Honk. You'd rather not exhibit your blood colour just now. You'd rather not exhibit your blood just now. You're a couple of quarts lower due to the robust conditions of life on Alternia, some of which you have recently come to had the honour of encountering. Honk. You sympathise. Slinking along the hidden paths of the Alternian woods could be tough on the morale. The smell alone is enough to make a strong man weep, and the vegetation looks like it is designed by the Marquis de Sade. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. Not that we know who the Marquis de Sade is. You can't help but feel that it would be so much better if only one... You can't help but feel that it would be so much better if one only had a skull buddy you continue. How wonderful it would be to travel these dusky lands with a kindred spirit, a twin soul, a fellow traveller, an inmate crony. You're such an expert on friend synonyms by now. Honk. No, you haven't met anyone like that either, but you would certainly like to. Your new potential friend is obviously thinking seriously about this issue, so you back off. Give him space. You pretend to deeply immerse in studying one of the razor-sharp leaves on one of the withered bushes beside the path. You won't want to force yourself onto others, or try to undirectly influence their friendship decisions. Okay, well, Maybe you forced yourself on others in the past and tried to influence their friendship decisions. But maybe you've even done this a lot, but you've recently evolved as a person. You now know that friendship is something that has to come authentically from within. Friendship is spontaneous. Real friendship sprouts naturally from the soils of mutual respect. Mutual respect as well, I assume. The best friendship grows and ripens over years, and it's not rushed or forced. Of course, you've only known this small person for about 5 minutes, but you have to start ripening sometime. You're reflecting thus on the theme of friendship when a loud skizzle pours suddenly from the sky above you. It's crackling, sizzling sound, like the chitinous thing with too many legs struggling in a hot frying pan. Karako jumps so violently that he nearly gets his horn stuck in the tree again. Looking up, you see a floating metal object, vaguely troll-shaped, but huge, faceless metal, with numerous sets of lightning bolts-shaped horns coming off of its head and neck. It's also not very sparkling conversationalist. Skizzle remarks in a flat, echoing blare. Skizzle elaborates further. Honk. Ooh. Okay, time to save. Well, we can't fight, so leap to the proto-friend's aid. You leap to your proto-friend's aid, thinking quickly. You push Karako against the large rock that just out from the undergrowth nearby and jumps in front of him, shielding him from the drone with your body. You then pretend to be leaping against the rock in the attitude of tranquil response. Several of the bladed weapons that in Kakaro's belt poke you in the behind, but you don't really let that show on your face. Instead, you yawn elaborately, checking your wristwatch. You don't have a wristwatch, but you don't think the drone knows that what a wristwatch is anyway. You pretend to smoke a non-existent cigarette. Again, you're not giving anything away, because drones don't know what a cigarette is either. But the drone is apparently taking an interest in you. It floats down between the trees and undergrowth, and hovers above the path several meters away from where you're pretending to relax against the rock. After a long day of hiking through this scenic, crap-smelled forest. It's quite a terrifying sight, actually. Skizzle, the drone, observes soullessly, making Karako jump so that the several of your internal organs are threatened. However, you maintain what you believe the local populace would call a stiff upper whistle pillow. The drone's blank metal head studies you, or it could be studying something in the opposite direction, or even taking the drone equivalent of a bathroom break. You can't really tell from its expression, because it has no features to make expressions with. This examination, or non-examination, continues for some time, but your diminutive potential friend is well hidden from view, and after a while, evidently concluding that you are an inanimate object that makes unaccountable gestures with its wrists and fingers, the drone floats upward again, gaining speed until, with a dreary skizzle, it whizzes off somewhere to find other helpless standard citizens to euthanize. When it's gone, you stand away from the rock and rub several places that have been pierced by the bladed weapons. Oh, I thought we would have died by this. Okay, then. This must be the right one then, right? You turn to Karako to comment on the recent further. But when you see the look on you see the look he is directing at you, a warm and admiring look, an affectionate and esteeming look, a look of friendship. Hooray! Your first impulse is to throw your arms around him and lean in. On second thought, remembering his pants arsenal, You put your a hand on a warm handshake. Victory so close. So close, yet so far. Anyway. But before you can seal the deal on this sweet friendship transaction, you hear a disturbance further down the path. God, can't the narrative chill for one single moment? Especially a moment where you're about to consummate a beautiful friendship. You turn to look. The footsteps, several sets of them, get nearer, and around the bend come three figures. The three figures wearing swimming outfits, lots of gold jewelry, and insouciant expressions. That's what I'm going to assume that word is. That's a new word for me. Three figures with gills on their necklace and small, stylized fins on their face. Oh man, is it possible you finally happened upon a group of legendary sea dwellers? They stop short when they see you and Karako, obviously startled. They study you. You study them. The fin-head interloper one, in a one piece and diamond earrings, whispers to her companions. Okay, and all three of them burst into laughter. Fin-head interloper 2, in a violet wetsuit, and rings slap her thighs, and fin-head interloper 3 is checkered as swimming trunks, holds his sides. Part of you is relieved. Laughter drives out of the devil. Is the best medicine, and in any event is better than homicidal mania. Yeah, I guess so. On the other hand, this laughter isn't friendly. It's cold, mocking, supercilicious. New words all around, apparently. These sea dwellers are obviously laughing at you, not with you. You notice Karako's cheeks flushing purple under his face paint, and his jaws clenching. However, he just stares at the stony dignity at the interlopers. Then this just makes them laugh harder. Okay. First sea dweller says, "What are you two supposed to be? Shrimp, Cassidy, and Squampus Kid?" Says her second companion. A Colbit minnow and his mutated soft shell crab. Says a third. Looks like the minimal one went down to the clown. So went down on the clown, causing it to fall out the other one. Okay. Huh? Okay, cool. The sea dwellers' laughters are redoubled. The continued expressionless of these insults, but to your dismay, Karako's face is taking a harsh, glowing look. You guess that such a tiny dude has probably been victimized by bullies his whole life, and as you happen to know, there are no bullies like Alternium bullies. Honk. You tell them just to let them talk the stuff they want. Talk all the stuff they want. Don't let them provoke him. They're trying to get him to do something stupid. If he doesn't react, they'll get bored and go away. Honk. No, remember that drone? It'll probably still be around here somewhere. Touch a scale on their head, and you could be rendered into a mother grub feedstock. Hey, bottom feeders! No whispering when you're in the presence of your bathers, and you, little boy. Put a respectful expression on your recognition surface. Be more like your friend, the slender manatee over there. In fact, why is it that you two are still perpendicular? Oh, okay, porpoise, yeah. Perpendicular. In the presence of sea dwellers, you should be bowed as right angulars. The first sea dweller seems to have an affinity for cheesy ocean puns. You bow to the sea dwellers. You have your dignity, but you also like not getting killed. Karako remains stubbornly upright. His face is getting angry and purple at them by the moment. The bladed weapons on his belt jingle from his enraged trembling. Oh, see the little clownfish? He's getting angry. Looks like he's gonna grab his pants. What did I tell you about that, your face, boy? Didn't your Lucis teach you anything? I doubt he even has a Lucis. A self-respecting Lucis would never let a shrimp like that out of the hive. Unless his Lucis is just as effective. The Lucis cracks are too much for Karako. Ignoring your hissed warnings, he suddenly leaps snarling into the air. Draws bladed weapons from his belt, and each hand as hurtles towards the sea dwellers. Okay. Hong Kong. And it's animated text. Ooh. Oh, okay. So yes, this was the correct answer. Grab him by the coattails and try to get him to drop the purpose-hitting disaster. Or leap into the fray and lend comfort and support. Well, again, we can't fight, so... You leap into the fray and lend comfort and support. You have counseled Karako to turn the other cheek, and keep turning cheeks after cheek until the sea dwellers get fed up and went away. But now things have heated up. You're not about to let down the side. Karako crashes into the sea dwellers, his bladed weapons whirling like a blender. You scamper closer behind him and kick someone in the shin. It hurts your foot, but it doesn't seem to have any other effect. The sea dwellers are made of tough stuff, or you're extremely flimsy. Science have recently pointed to the latter. We're definitely extremely flimsy. Your next sortie is more effective, however. Thinking quickly, you pick up a rock and throw it at the trigger root of the spring thorn growing along the path where the violet bloods are enduring Hurricane Clown. The coiled stalk springs out, impaling the dude with a 12-foot-long thorns. He's thrown off balance, and violet blood begins to throw copiously down his body. That's a hue you haven't seen before. Huh, kinda pretty. But these seal dwellers are made of tough stuff. He yanks the spring thorns stalk away from him, pulling out the thorns out, and flings them into the woods. Then he takes out a pocket handkerchief and starts patting his injury gently. Meanwhile, Kakaro's bladed weapons have not been idle. The other two sea dwellers are likewise leaking violet blood. But these people are hard to kill. You remember Polypod telling you that. As you watch, one of them grabs one of your bladed weapons from Karako's hands and buries them into Karako's stomach. Oh no, purple and violet. This, unsurprisingly, is distracting for a poor little clown, allowing the other two to, of the finny sons of women, or female dogs, or... Oh, actually, no, it's not women, is it? Because they're all Noturnia. So... Oh yeah, because we are human, so obviously we wouldn't... I was wondering why the narration was going to describe it like that, but obviously we're not we're human and we're saying it to them. Okay. I got distracted by it, yeah. To grab a handful of the bleeding weapons from his belt and bury them in various parts of his body. You dance around delivering harmless kicks and curses. Karako is still waving his weapons and seems like to be waving them more slowly now. Then, as more and more bladed weapons are buried into his body, it seems to lose focus. The weapons he's been brandishing fall to his side. Finally, he falls to the ground in the center of a spreading pool of purple blood, twitches feebly for a minute and then is still. You stare in disbelief at the corpse of one who, if had been spared just a short while longer, would have been your friend. One despised and rejected, a clown of suffering, familiar with pain. They had flogged him and mocked him and spit on him, and then killed him. You struggle to come across terms for this. While you're doing that, one of the remaining sea dwellers grabs you by the hair and suplexes you into the ground. Your head snaps back and pain explodes behind your eyes. You're left lying on your back and trying to stay conscious, which is why you get a view of what happens next. Oh, okay, what's this? In the dark sky above, you see something opens. Something even darker than the sky. A hole, like a cave in the clouds. It widens until you can see the cave. Say that in the cave, a carousel of wooden horses mounted on brass podiums rotates. The horses plunging up and down in time with carnival music playing on a mechanical organs. Riding the horses is a naked store window mannequin, with their legs slung awkwardly over the horses' backs. Their stiff arms down by the sides, in whatever poses they were created. Their horns huge and wildly shaped. Okay, in the darkness above the carousel, another naked mannequin with plastic wings tied to their back are supported on wires, and above these, in turn, of a net of white Christmas tree lights twinkle against the roof of the dark cave, or circus tent, or whatever it is, throwing their dim starlight illuminations down the rotating carousel. Okay. As you watch, two of the winged angel mannequins break loose from their wires and fly down from that dark region into the night sky in the dimension Altenia occupies. They maneuver until the stiff hands on the ends of their stiff arms are underneath Karako, and then they lift him up into the sky, into the dark carnival. You hear the last faint reviving honk as they set him onto the wooden horses, and then the whole of the sky closes, and there is nothing but the night sky above you. All silent, and still again. An odd feeling comes over you. You'd think you've ever felt such a feeling. Just the reality of how utterly insignificant you are. Sure, you spent the last few months wandering with no desire but the desire for connections. And you are, in a way, being unique in this galaxy. But honestly, what does that even mean? You flit in and out of people's lives. They're there one minute and gone the next. Always moving from friend to friend. You are, for all intents and purposes, a virtual non-entity. A bland point of view vector. A neutral second person narrator. Barely coming into the picture. A retiring entity. Expressing only a simple, one-dimensional desire for friendship. But just about now, you feel that things have gone pretty far. And just about now, you feel that you have about enough of an arrogant high-bloods. Enough, in fact, of short wavelength hemotypes, carelessly and without compunction killing and maiming and exploiting those of longer wavelengths, of a survival of the fittest regime that seems to come down to the survival of the most violent psychopaths. Is this a moral universe or not, or is it not? You ask yourself. Are repulsive cruelty and sickening evil punished in this universe, or are they not? Does an ethical force operate in this universe, or does it not? You don't know the answer to these questions, but you do know one thing. You intend to depart for once from your one-dimensional persona. You intend to punish repulsive cruelty and sickening evil if it comes within your ability to do so. You intend to create an ethical force-filled, nice, me. An ethical force field in which your local region, you intend to exert some moral gravity right around where you are, if you possibly can. And you realize that that this is odd, feeling that you're having some of the drawing moral Higgs Higgs bossing out of the moral ground state, and right out of the fabric of the multicolored, blood-soaked planet that heaves under your feet. You take on the aspect of clown's soccer, seizing 2 cans of inexpensive soft drinks from the where they fell from Karako's bandoilers. You shake them and pull the pins. Then, with malice, forethought, you direct them into the twin streams at the sea dwellers. You smell banana and strawberry as the deadly streams upon them play. The deadly streams play upon them. Already weakened, they fall back into back with their cries under the withering onslaught. As soon as the streams slacken, you take up 2 more cans, shake them, and deal out death into to the unrighteous. You smell peach and diet root beer at this time. But no pity softens your heart. You wouldn't care even if they were pineapple watermelon, and you were spraying on these brutes. But these finheads are made of tough stuff. Rallying even in the face of this intense onslaught, they push forward, and seizing some bladed weapons from the purple blood pool, advance upon you. Not one step back. You vow to the memory of Karako Pierot. You stand your ground, in desperation grabbing some cans of the dyed tonic water and club soda, and opening up your batteries once again, but to no avail. A trident pierces into you to the bone, followed by a scimitar, a tomahawk, a short spear, and so many other bladed weapons. The sheer weight of them drives you to the ground, where your red, precious blood flows in muddied streams, mixing with the purple blood from your proto-friend. This is the end, you realize, but you are glad you died in the righteous battle. You are glad you created even a tiny sputtering temporary moral force field in your local region that you did. You feel your life and narrative point of view slipping away, but you are content. Yet, what as you see above you now, a dark space has opened up, even darker than the night sky. And 2 stiff-looking winged figures are descending. They land next to you and gently place their stiff hands under you. Then they ascend once again, lifting you up higher and higher into the dark space, or the dark airspace. As you pass the boundary of the heavenly carnival, your life seems to revive within you. As the fabric of the place closes around you, the 2 of the mannequins place you on the carousel, a horse next to Karako. You realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos can go, but friendship is forever. Oh no. Well, at least we ended up in the same place, right? Yeah, that's a positive, I guess. Oh well. So, what's the wrong one? Run a drone. You run under wild panic. It's a drone. Even the Altonian badasses you've hung out with have been terrified of the drones. Up close, it's one of the most terrifying things you've ever seen. And it's making noises, which you didn't even know they did, which probably means something sinister. You race at top speed down the twisting path, focusing on your senses on the breaking point to avoid trigger roots, razor leaves, and acid pods. At first you hear the pattering of the small feet running behind you, but as soon as you redouble your speed, the pattering falls back, and after a while it's lost in the distance. You sprint for what seems like a lifetime before you finally catch your foot on a trigger root and go flying through the air, barely missing being sliced into hundreds of pieces and tumbling ham by the barbed spring vine that lashes across the path only inches behind you. You land in the dirt, wind knocked out of you, but otherwise unhurt. You lie there catching your breath and waiting. but nothing happens. No enormous metal monster whizzes down the path to impale you. No small clown-faced individual overtakes you on his short legs. Finally, after enough of nothing, you pick yourself up and dust yourself off. You're alone on the path, and no sound of either friend or potential friend or foe can be heard. No bird singing, which is probably good. You imagine that any bird native to this forest would probably sing by croaking up putrid sludge, and that the sludge would be poisonous or radioactive. But leaving aside the character for the local fauna, what should you do now? Keep going down the path, or putting more distance between yourself and the drone? Or should you go back to see if Karako is okay? You waffle for a while, and then decide to go back. You sneak back along the path. You sneak a long way. However, but however far you go, there are no signs of either Karako or the drone. You don't know whether the drone picked Karako up and took him away, or disemboweled him and scattered the fragments, or whether Karako leapt into the undergrowth and hid or escaped, or what. One way or another, you're all alone again, and this path through crap smell forest. Oh, okay. Well, I can't really say that that's good because like no one got hurt, because we don't know what happened to Karako on that one. That's unfortunate. Grab him. Yeah, we got to just grab him and run. You leap forward and grab Karako by the coattail. Or by his belt. You aren't actually sure what the coattail is. Jesus, he's strong. You can barely hold him back. It's like trying to restrain a small truck. His legs rotate wildly, kicking up a cloud of dust, and he brandishes his blade weapons wildly in the directions of the sea dwellers. After a startled moment in which they jump backwards, the sea dwellers have started to laugh again, coming up with more stupid insults and fish puns. It's not helping. Karako runs twice as hard, honks twice as loud, shakes his weapon twice as threateningly. Hey! You shout at Karako, trying to be heard above the fracas, holding on with all your might and digging in your heels. You have half the mind of just let him go to pay the sea dwellers back for their insults, but you try and keep it cool. You're doing your proto-friend much more good trying to restrain his wrath. You've now succeeded in wrapping your arms all the way around him, and now that you've got get in front of him, holding him back is with straight arms, bellowing soothingly into his face and trying to avoid the bladed weapons he's brandishing. But it's not working. You can see the contorted features, the bared teeth, the distended nostrils with smoke coming out, the blazing eyes. That Karako is getting more and more enraged. And suddenly his rage seems to reach a kindling point. His body vibrates violently, his eyes grow huge and round. And suddenly his body... And suddenly from his body, something like a nuclear blast, pressure waves of fear and violence send you flying through the air like a scrap of paper in a gale. What the hell? Are you hallucinating? But you can see, but as you saw above the path, that the sea dwellers aren't laughing anymore. In fact, they're screaming in terror and fleeing wildly, blundering into raised leaves, being impaled by spring thorns and burned by pot acid, and generally receiving a stern retribution that awaits them. Then your head collides with a tree branch, and you're rendered unable to narrate for a while. You wake up lying in the dust. And as consciousness returns, you realize that you're lying on the path. And as it turns further, that a small clown-painted figure is seated next to you. Quite calm now. He smiles fondly as he sees you sit up. Honk! You smile in return. You express relief that he realizes you are acting in his best interests, holding him back from the finheads. And now, though largely because of his unexpected burst of clown sorcery, or whatever that was, everything turned out for the best. Hooray! Karako holds up his arms for a hug, but then removes his blazed weapons in his belt, sticks out his hands, and you shake it warmly. Yay! He is giant compared to us, and yet he's described as small? What? Okay then. Well, anyway. Oh, but I like the ending where no one gets hurt, really. So hopefully you enjoyed this as well, and hopefully I can see you on the next one as well. I keep saying hopefully and as well. It's nice, really. But yeah, with that, goodbye.